The Temple of Bastet. Ancient Egyptians actually kept cats in their house not only to kill rodents, but because they were living embodiments of Bastet. Temples were being built here, and they would throw massive festivals at this temple. Thousands of pilgrims coming to visit, party, drink wine. There's ancient records of this from Herodotus, actually. When they arrive at Bubastis, they celebrate the festival with sacrifices in abundance, and more wine is drunk at this feast than in all the rest of the year. Good morning from the Temple of Bastet here in Zaazzi. The ruins of the Temple of Bastet lie in the Nile Delta, in the town of Zaazzi, just an hour-and-a-half drive northeast of Cairo. This temple was dedicated to the ancient Egyptian goddess Bastet and served as an important cult center for thousands of years. Some of the granite blocks here date back 4,500 years to the Old Kingdom under the pharaohs Khufu and Khafre, the builders of the pyramids at Giza. But the temple truly reached its peak during the Third Intermediate Period, around 3,000 years ago, and was even described by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus. But who was Bastet? She is the cat goddess of ancient Egypt. She was really, actually, she evolved over time. So in the Old Kingdom and even before that, she was always depicted as a lioness-headed goddess, a warrior, fierce, protective. She was actually often associated with Sekhmet as well, the other lioness-headed warrior goddess. So that was how she was during the Old Kingdom for a long period of time, but then she evolved. Oh, is there no way to get down here without jumping? Well, we'll jump then. But she evolved over the millennia to a more softer, gentle cat goddess, which she became associated with in the later periods. There is a lot of broken granite out here though. There's a museum inside, which I will tell you a little bit about as well later, and the ticket prices. But I just want to tell you a little bit about Bastet and what she is related to as the goddess. So the site is a bit large and we're going to be wandering around all over the place. But Bastet was the goddess of protection, as I mentioned, and cats were sacred to this goddess because cats killed rodents and snakes. They protected households, and Bastet was the goddess of protection of women, of children, of households. And so ancient Egyptians actually kept cats in their house not only to kill rodents, but because they were living embodiments of Bastet, which I think is amazing. I love cats, as I'm sure you guys know if you watch the channel. There's a lot more over that way. Let's head down there. So the goddess Bastet was also associated with motherhood and fertility. It was connected to childbirth and nurturing, just domestic home life, caring, protection. And she also became associated with music and dance, and they would throw massive festivals at this temple, annual festivals that reportedly had thousands of pilgrims coming to visit, party, drink wine. There's ancient records of this from Herodotus, actually, who I will read maybe some of his passages from things that he documented, 1,000, 2,000 years ago, not 1,000, 2,000 years ago. But it is absolutely incredible. So that is a little bit about Bastet. She is an ancient Egyptian goddess of protection. And this This site actually is much older than the temple that we are seeing now in the ruins from this temple. Around 5,300 years ago, this area was populated pre-dynastic times, and they have discovered pottery, shards, and evidence of settlements from that period of time here. But it has many layers of history, like almost all ancient sites in Egypt. During the Old Kingdom, so around 4,500 years ago, temples were being built here, which archaeologists believe could have been the earliest shrines dedicated to Bastet, because they found stele with her name written on it. How do we get out of here? Let's go. During the Middle Kingdom, Bastet had become an established goddess of the Eastern Delta. At that time, she was still being depicted as a lioness-headed goddess, though she hadn't transformed into the gentle cat that we see in later periods. And during the New Kingdom is when we see first signs of her becoming more of the gentle cat goddess that she evolved into, even into later periods. But the New Kingdom is when it really developed into a festival center as well. There was major amounts of granite, which we can see here, being quarried from Aswan. And the New Kingdom was during the reign of Ramses the Great, Ramses II. So of course everyone knows him. He was the great builder and built temples all over the country, including here in the Nile Delta. We saw some of his ruins in Tanis if you watched some of the previous episodes. And of course Ramses, which I was not able to stop at and visit because it is closed to tourists. But yeah, this is the temple was built from granite, and you find a lot of these pieces. But even during later periods, more granite came. The real golden age for the Temple of Bastet came during the Third Intermediate Period, when the Libyan kings were ruling, and that is when they expanded the temple a lot. It was at its largest during that period of time. And so, as I mentioned, a lot of the granite that you see here is from during that period of time. There's so many fragments of this, huge blocks. So, yes, the Temple of Bastet was really thriving during the Third Intermediate Period, and like I said, they had festivals here. It was a huge political, cultural festival center, and there were a lot of cat mummies found here, thousands. And we have Ra here. I can't read hieroglyphs though, not enough to try. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, it was just such a major hub, and we can imagine how beautiful this temple was because Herodotus described it, and they have found a lot of archaeological evidence to align with most of the things he says. Let me find a place to sit down actually, and I will read to you a bit of a passage from some of the things he's written describing this temple. I wish there were some cats here because I would love to feed them. I brought some tuna just in case, but I saw some cats on the street on the way here and I fed them, and I'll feed more if I don't see any here, which I don't think I will. Okay, so I'm going to read you a passage from Herodotus, speaking about the Temple of Bubastis. By the way, if I didn't mention this already, Bubastis was the Greek name for it, and it still has it to this day. In Egyptian Arabic, they call it Tel Basta, but the ancient Egyptian name is Per Bastet, which means House of Bastet. But okay, so Book 2, Section 137 says, "The Temple of Bubastis is also a work deserving mention, for though other temples may be larger or may have cost more, none is a pleasanter sight to behold. Bubastis is in other respects like the other cities, but the temple is raised in the following manner. Except the entrance, it is entirely surrounded by a channel of water coming from the Nile, which forms a circle around it, and the width of the channel is a plethron, which is about 30 meters or 100 feet. This channel is lined with stone and is about as deep as it is wide. The entrance is quite high, and the whole temple is visible as you go around it or round it. For as it stands on an elevation, it looks as though it were on an island. Round it is a wall, with figures carved upon it, and within is a grove of very tall trees growing round the temple in a circle. The sanctuary is in the middle of the grove. The length of the temple each way is a stadion, which is about 180 meters, 600 feet, or 2 football fields. It is adorned with notable works of carving. The avenue leading to it is about 3 stadia long and floor plethora wide. It runs straight through the marketplace in a direction from the east, and in width it is equal to the projected canal. Trees of exceeding height line it on both sides, and there are other admirable things in the precincts." So that is a little bit of the description of the temple, but there's more if you're willing to listen. Too bad if you don't, you can skip ahead. Yes, so another passage from Book 2, Section 59 reads, "They celebrate feasts and sacrifices throughout the whole year, but the greatest festival which they celebrate is that of Bubastis. Then they do as follows. They go down to the river and embark on barges, men and women together, and in the number thousands of each. During the voyage, some of the women beat upon a drum, some strike the castanets, and the men play on the flute the whole time. The rest of the men and women sing and clap their hands. Whenever in the course of their journey they come opposite to any city, they lay their barge near to the bank. Then some of the women do as I have said, while others call out scoffingly to the women in that city, dancing and making obscene gestures. And they do this at every city which they pass by on the river. When they arrive at Bubastis, they celebrate the festival with sacrifices in abundance, and more wine is drunk at this feast than in all the rest of the year. The natives say that no fewer than 700,000 persons, men and women, except children, come together at this festival." Yeah, amazing. There's a few more passages. He mentions how this was the burial place of Osiris, and then he describes the location a little bit. But it's just really incredible to read about an ancient historian describing this. My battery died, but as I was saying, it's just incredible to hear the account of Herodotus and describing what this temple would have looked like at its peak, with thousands of pilgrims visiting this every year and festivals happening all throughout the year, but a major one happening once a year. I think some of the things that he accounted were exaggerated according to archaeologists. Mainly the number of people attending. They say that's a bit exaggerated because there weren't that many people at that time in that area. But regardless, most of what he described is backed up by archaeological evidence. And yeah, it's amazing to imagine this temple glowing in the sunset with the red granite just lit up beautifully, water and groves of trees around it. There's no evidence for the groves of trees, but of course that's very plausible. There's no way to really check if there were trees back 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, you know. But it is an incredible sight. Now, they don't actually have any cat mummies here, though thousands of cat mummies were discovered at this site, which leads archaeologists to believe that the cats were not just being mummified by royals, but by common Egyptians as well. They're gods of protection, you know, so, or associated with protection. And so they were very revered, and especially among the common people, the daily life of an Egyptian, farming, living, and just having your home being protected. So I'm going to continue wandering around this ancient site. Maybe I'll do a voiceover with some more information, but it is incredible to be here. There's a lot of granite, and some have hieroglyphs on it, others do not. You have polyform columns here, not polyform, but just columns.
Although the site of Bastet was heavily quarried for building stone in later centuries, especially during the Roman and early Islamic periods, huge granite blocks and column fragments still litter Tel Basta, many with hieroglyphs bearing the names of Amenhotep III, Ramses II, and Asorkan II, attesting to its ancient glory. Recent excavations by Egyptian and German missions have revealed new temple blocks, catacombs, and statues, including a remarkable granite shrine of Thutmose III and evidence of Ptolemaic-era rebuilding, showing the temple's long life well into the Greco-Roman era. Next to the ruined temple is an open plaza displaying various artifacts found at the site, including broken statue heads, feet, and blocks inscribed with hieroglyphic texts. Dominating the ruins is the colossal statue of Queen Medet Amun. She was both the daughter and later the great royal wife of Pharaoh Ramses II, and the statue originally dates to his reign. Standing approximately 9 meters tall and weighing around 80 tons, archaeologists believe it likely stood within a processional route or temple precinct. However, the statue was later reinscribed during the reign of Asorkan II of the 22nd dynasty for his wife, Karomama, whose names are now carved on the back of the monument. Inside the small on-site museum, artifacts discovered at Bastet, as well as other sites around the governorate of Shar'iyya, can be seen, such as many small, intricately carved statues, relief blocks, pottery, and an incredible amount of jewelry. Amulets and scarabs, coins dating to the Roman and Ptolemaic period, small oil lamps, ancient tools, canopic jars, and more. The Temple of Bastet is open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. An entry is 120 Egyptian pounds for foreigners and 10 for Egyptians and spouses of Egyptians. If you're interested in visiting this temple yourself or any other place around Egypt, My husband and I can help. I have been living in Egypt for 4 years and my husband is Egyptian. With our local knowledge and passion for this beautiful country, we help visitors to Egypt organize trips and connect you with fantastic guides and trusted drivers all over the country to ensure you have an unforgettable experience. If you'd like to contact us, you can reach us on WhatsApp. The number is in the description of this video. And lastly, although I wasn't able to find any cats to feed at the temple, I do feed the street cats of Egypt on a daily basis at home in Cairo and all over the country on my travels. So please enjoy a few scenes of them in honor of Bastet and cats all over the world. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to help my channel reach more people. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Ma salama.
Hi, baby. Hi. Oh, honey. Hi. Oh, you're so cute. Right?
Oh. Bit. One more. Yeah, I got my little buddy with me.
Right? I did a King Cat.
I asked the waiter if I could buy something cheap for it, the cat, and he showed me something on the menu for $65. But I think I'll just share my fish because it's a bit excessive. It's not to me, but what do you think? Should I buy you a meal? A human meal? Cats. The cat is like bumping its nose against me like, hey, hey. Kitty cat. Oh, are you hungry? Kitty cat. Look at this little baby.
Hi.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh.
Hi. Oh, baby. Hi. Hello. Come here. Oh my goodness, you're so loud. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, why?
I need to see if I can find some food for this cat. I have 15 minutes. Ira! She's still very scared, but anyways, yeah, that's great. Now she has some food. Baby.